children's book is the kind that pushes gender confusion on children. There are many adults in this country who want your child to be as insane and confused as they are.
James is only 11. Generally, people are mature enough to have kids around the age of 25. That's more than twice his age. He is just a little kid whose biology and mentality are constantly changing. He has no idea how he's going to feel when he is 25 or how much he's going to change in the next 14 years. It is highly irresponsible of the parents and the doctors, by the way, to allow him to make a permanent decision like this at 11.
Joining us on the line is Abigail Schreier. She's a frequent Wall Street Journal contributor, author of the upcoming book, Irreversible Damage, The Transgender Craze Seducing Our Daughters.
What other profound life decisions do we think people ought to be making at the age of 4? Are there any others?
Well,
whether to get a tattoo, whether to get married, enlisting in the military, voting, drinking vodka, smoking Marlboro Reds. Is there anything else that we think 4-year-olds are ready to decide?
We'll be taught a new way of thinking.
He should have created Anna and Eve. If my dad married a man, who would be my mom? I'm confused.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
Oh yes, won't somebody please think of the children? Seeing trans people might make them gay. Or worse, trans themselves. Hi, you already know me, and if you don't, my name is Bevel Bixel. I run this YouTube channel. I usually talk about video games and movies, but today, I'm going to be talking about dog whistles. It's Pride Month, so obviously I need to talk about something relating to pride, and as I am part of the community myself, I kind of have to. I feel like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But I chose to talk about a very particular dog whistle. One that on the surface seems to be all about children and their best interest. But in reality, it's all about keeping the gays locked away. It's not actually about thinking of the children. It's about something much darker. Oh, won't somebody please think of the straight cis white males? In a 2011 article for the journal Postscript, Andrew Shahill, sorry if I butchered that name, wrote about the power of children in rhetoric to create an untenable stance for an opposing viewpoint. According to Shahill, an individual arguing for the children makes it extremely difficult for an opposition to argue against it. Get out of here, Fortnite. There's a pop-up on my script. I think I'm just going to cut that out of the video or just make a joke about that. How do you... These are shirts, by the way. I don't actually... These are shirts. I'm sad. Let's continue with the video. When the fight for gay marriage to be legalized in America was in full effect, from 1970 to 2015, the opposition often asked the question of, what of the children? And, saying, verbatim, what we know from decades of social science research is that the best environment for raising children, the optimal environment for raising children, is having two loving parents, a man and a woman, a husband and a wife, in a stable relationship, said government MP Kevin Andrews on Sky News in 2017. In meetings hosted by Heritage Foundation in Washington in late 2010, opponents of same-sex marriage discussed the urgent need to generate new studies on family structure in children according to dispositions of two witnesses in the Michigan trial and other participants. One was the result of marshalling $785,000 for a large-scale study by Mark. Sorry if I butcher your name, Mark. Actually, not sorry, but you know. Regners. Is that right? That's right. It's right enough. A meeting participant and a sociologist at the University of Texas who would testify in Michigan. Another common argument is that children need fathers. If same-sex civil marriage becomes common, most same-sex couples with children would be lesbian couples. This would mean that we would have yet more children being raised apart from fathers. Among these things, we know that fathers excel in reducing antisocial behavior and delinquency in boys, and sexual activity in girls. What the fuck? I'm sorry. What the fuck? That's creepy as shit. Unsurprisingly, this did lead to more people being against same-sex marriage, because some people are either gullible, don't understand, or outright bigoted. Take your pick. Despite same-sex not being evil and having a classical home environment not actually proven to be any more beneficial than any other home environment, people still believed this, and argued it fully, still do to this day. A study published in 2016 using data from the U.S. National Survey of Children Health for 2011 to 2012 compared outcomes for children aged 6 to 17 years in 95 female same-sex parented families and 95 opposite-sex parented families. The study found no evidence in outcomes for children raised by lesbian parents compared to heterosexual parents, on a range of outcomes including general health, emotional difficulties, coping behavior, and learning behavior, according to Jennifer Power of The Conversation. The right continues to use these arguments against same-sex marriage despite the evidence against this being everywhere. But then again, this argument isn't about being right. It's all about appealing to emotion. It's all about convincing people to agree with you based on their emotions. After all, who doesn't love kids? Trans people hate your kids.
This might sound crazy, but I'm a simple guy. I want my laws to keep me safe when I unzip my fly. The public men's room should be safe like a cocoon. I only want to hear a real man pissing and shitting in my bathroom. Wanna hear unhealthy male flops, penis style pissing. Hear a man spit and see puddles when he's missing. Country's changing fast, but there's one thing I know. Gals dressed as a man just make me scared and I can't go. We're all made men and women in the womb. Pissing and shitting in my bathroom. Call me old-fashioned, but let's be mature. There My son has to shit and piss, well, I want him secure. I miss when respectable men would shit and piss by my boy, like his priest or his wrestling coach or a biker named Roy.
I know I'm a woman, but I got something to say to you.
Content warning. This section deals with themes of pedophilia and sexual assault. If you would like to skip this part, please skip to this part in the video. Let me ask you a question. Which bathroom should I use? No, seriously. Which one should I use? If you answered a female restroom, then you made an inferred decision based off of how I look and how I choose to be. How I view myself and how you view me based off of my appearance and how I act. Which, correct. You've assumed based off of my gender, which is good. However, if you said male, why'd you pick male? I dress feminine. I present myself as such. I go by feminine pronouns. What makes you choose male as your answer? If you say it's because you're a man, that's a hateful reason, because I am not. This is exactly the reason for anti-trans bathroom bill. This isn't about anything other than transphobia. But the argument isn't necessarily completely they're men. That is a big argument. But another big part of it, to really hook people onto this idea, really grab them by the ball, is...
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
One of the arguments is, men will pretend to be women and prey on our children. This argument has helped to keep bathroom debate hot and heavy, with one story about a transgender woman named Michelle Martinez allegedly using a public restroom to commit the crime. Or did she? The incident did not occur in a bathroom. Martinez was not using the pro-transgender bathroom bills to enter public restrooms and to commit the crime. Martinez was convicted of sexually assaulting a young daughter of a friend in a private home. The person found guilty of this crime, Michelle, referred to as Miguel by Fox News and local news reporters, was not a stranger in a public bathroom, but rather a family friend who allegedly the victim in their private home. Despite the crime having no connection to the public bathroom bills, Fox had used the bathroom location as a hook to trick people into thinking it was all about the public bathroom debate. It was nowhere near a public bathroom. The bills supporting people using their gender-affirming bathrooms weren't even a part of this crime. This crime, this horrible, horrible crime, was politicized by people, even though it had nothing to do with what they were arguing about, because of one reason. Okay, two. The criminal was trans, and the victim was a child. Can't get much juicier than that, can ya? Trans people, like myself, are not going into public bathrooms to do the crime. We're just going there for the same reason you are. Take a massive, very loud, and very unpleasant fucking shit. And then cry in the stall because all the paper is gone. Hi, are you a cuck? You want to not be a cuck? Then all you need to do is subscribe to me.
So why doesn't anyone say anything about this?
Then you can be like all other 38 people who are no longer being cuckolded. Don't wait. Subscribe, hit that bell, like the video, and comment, and you too can be a fucking Chad.
Thank you, Dark Souls.
At first I wasn't sure of it, then I was just okay with it. I cannot get enough of it. Now I love it. It's not a phase. I know I want you. They say it's bad. I'm not supposed to. The way you move, I know I need you. It's not a phase. It's not a phase.
Another huge think of the children argument is kids don't know if they're gay, bi, lesbian, trans, non-binary, what have you. Kids just don't know. They're too young. It's probably a phase. Whilst believing that their kids are old enough to know that they're straight or cis or like gushers. While talking about the HBO documentary Transhood, Tucker Carlson stated,
"What we're about to show you right now is so disturbing it would have qualified as a crime not so long ago. It comes from an HBO documentary, it's new, called Transhood. It shows a 4-year-old child called Phoenix and his mother at a Unitarian church service. The mother brings Phoenix to the altar to tell the congregation that Phoenix, who again is 4 years old, now identifies as a girl.
The clip in question showed a 4-year-old trans girl named Phoenix at church about to come out to everyone. However, as most kids are, she was, just fucking shy. She didn't know what to say. She got stage fright. So she asked her mom if she could do it for her.
Today we choose to recognize, honor, love, and celebrate anyone here who would claim their identity publicly as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer or questioning, intersex, pansexual, asexual, or any category that I've left out.
Do you want to tell everyone if you're a boy or a girl? I just want to tell them that I'm a girl.
Okay, you can tell them that.
Okay.
Phoenix would like you to know that she's a girl and she prefers she and her pronouns.
Carlson then said,
Phoenix would like you to know that she's a girl. Now, if you're a parent, if you actually have raised children, you know what you're seeing is ventriloquism. 4-year-olds don't make decisions like that. They can't. And yet, across the country, many small children are being given puberty blockers and irreversibly damaging their bodies. Of course, some of them later regret it. It's grotesque. If you say that out loud, you're punished. Target will ban your book. You'll have trouble getting a job. This isn't just one parent abusing a child on TV. This is a nationwide, we're going to use the word epidemic. And
now listen, Tucker Carlson. I know that little runs through that brain, but let's get one thing straight. Blockers have no long-lasting effects on you. They just block hormones for like a year. There's no long-lasting effects. You fucking dumbass. Blockers are temporary. Blockers are only active, like I said, for about a year. Blockers are only there for the kid to use to not have to go through their, classically assigned sex puberty. Blockers are only given to kids during, the lead up to their puberty. Only then. So only at around, I think 10 or so, when you start having puberty is when blockers are given to you. They last for a year, for you to then decide if you want to go on minor, mind you, light, hormone therapy. Of course, Carlson doesn't know this, he's a fucking idiot, but that's how transitioning as a child works. Also, of course, you need to go to a doctor and they need to prescribe you this stuff and write off that it is right for you. So, it's not really kids just blindly making a decision. There's a process to it, a medical process, a legal process. You fucking dolt. Jesus. I'm gonna throw this snowball at Tucker Carlson's head, I swear to fucking God. Also, Tucker Carlson, kids can choose to be trans. A trans woman named Dawn Ennis said, "At that age, children do know the difference between boys and girls, and what we are. Trans kids do too, and all we ask is that parents listen to trans kids." I am living proof. I was 4 when I asked my mother why she thought I was a boy, even though she told me that I'd be a girl for all the months she carried me. Even though I was telling her who I was, she didn't believe me then, or when I come out to her when I'm 49. This is not just an argument used against trans people, though. All people in the LGBTQ+ face this shitty argument. Everyone who has ever come out at a young age has faced the words, "How do you know?" Or, "You're too young to make that choice," or, "It's just a phase." Same is true for if you're emo. Well, guess what, Cucker Carlson? It's not a phase. Now time for the big one. How are they going to protect the children from the scary LGBTQ+? Well, it's simple. Ban the tran.
Of my brothers and sisters don't feel that they belong. It's heaven or hell with mom and dad just trying to stay strong. Just hide a coward to cry for help. 19% don't wanna live out loud, so we hear about them trying to tie a new spam just like that. My friends let loose.
Content warning. Fucking suicide. God, this is just getting worse, isn't it?
He says I could cut off my circulation and...
In 2012, trans kids have been hit with bills attacking them for the crime of being trans. For trans men, these bills are hitting them straight in the balls. Is this a good time to be making jokes? Stopping them from competing in sports for their gender, having doctors evaluate their fucking genitals to determine their fucking sex, and blocking them from hormone blockers. In Alabama, bill number HB 391 has been enacted, and its goal is to prohibit transgender athletes from competing on teams that match their gender identity. The bills range from banning trans children from playing on a sports team to prohibiting doctors from giving trans youth life-saving care. There are organized anti-transgender forces, people who are ideologically anti-transgender, who are trying to push this every way that they can, says Henge Lethning. Sorry if I butchered that name. So it's coordinated, it's deliberate. And it's all about using trans people, and especially trans youth, as a political football. Canela Lopez of Insider News said. And similar bills are being enacted in places like Arizona and Connecticut. Alabama is currently voting for 2 bills that would make it a felony for doctors to treat trans youth with gender-affirming care, like hormone blockers and HRT, SB 10 and HB 1 respectively. While I was writing this, or actually after I finished writing this script, Florida killed its anti-trans bill, so yay Florida, you finally did something right. Despite these bills apparently being enacted to save kids, the kids are being hurt. Who would have fucking guessed? The number of bills is an unsettling and deeply disturbing show of ignorance and political targeting. The lack of concern for young people, in particular, whose not just rights, but lives are to be trampled by legislators, said Jennifer Pizzer, Law and Policy Director at Lambda Legal. When trans kids are forced to live as the gender that they are not, bad shit happens. The kids will be put into mental anguish because of what's called gender dysphoria, which can lead to possibly fucking death via suicide. And yet none of these bigots actually care. They only want to say, think of the children, but never actually think of the children. They only say it when it benefits them. The disconnect between their experienced gender and their assigned gender can result in acute distress called gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria can be a source of profound suffering. A recent study of transgender teens found more than 50% of transgender males and 30% of transgender females reported attempting suicide. Transgender adolescents are often vulnerable to bullying and family rejection. It can be a very difficult transition for both the teen and the parents, says Caroline Miller of Child Mind Institute. The only way to help trans youths is by helping them transition, and if they don't, they'll be hurt or worse, die. If you're really concerned with children, talk to them. Accept them for who they are, their gender identity, their sexuality, what have you. Don't try to change them. Don't dismiss them. Don't argue with them. Be an ally. Be a fucking parent. The people saying, think of the children, do not actually care about children. It's a dog whistle for bigotry and hate, and if you see people use it, call them out for it. If they're your friends, cut them off entirely, they're pieces of shit. Or educate them. Probably the second one, don't do the first one, that's petty. Only do it if they're being petty. Be a bitch if they're a bitch, you know, that kind of deal. And if you want to argue with them and prove them wrong and educate them, please send them this video and tell them to go down in the description below and click on the links I provided. Then click on my sources, and continue down until, you know, they know more. And if you want to learn more, you can do the exact same thing. You can also do this to check my work if you don't believe me or think I'm misrepresenting people like Tucker Carlson. If you enjoyed the video, then cool. Thank you. Please stay tuned for more videos or watch older videos of mine. Again, like I said in the intermission, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notifications, that way you know every time I post a new video. And remember, think of the LGBTQ plus children. And since this video has been so sad so far, I thought it'd be a good idea to show some of the accomplishments of the LGBTQ plus community. The gay people, the trans people, the bi people, all of them. So, for the end credits of this video, which will be very short, so I'm going to extend the fuck out of them, I am going to show you a montage of just good shit. Happy Pride Month. Love is love. Have a good day.
A lot of breaking news here this morning. The breaking story just moments ago, the Supreme Court and this landmark ruling, the court making same-sex marriage legal in this country across every state in this nation. Going into today, 37 states in Washington, D.C.
Hey, Mom, there's something I want to tell you. Mom, I'm trans. Are you? Yeah. Okay.
30,000 people came together to celebrate acceptance and love for the LGBTQ community. This Pride Parade is the largest in Florida, and today's festivities saw something that's never been done before. 10 News reporter Shannon Biodolid shows you the historic win the transgender community says was a long time coming.
If you're straight, what? Want me to film?
Sure.
Wow. You got so many options. Every fish in the sea wants to kiss you.
Wow.
You are?
Racial?
No, bisexual.
Is this a joke?
No. Does it look like she's joking?
Look
at you! Aww.
Okay?
Yeah. All right, whenever you're ready.
I'm just making chili, best chili ever, but that's another story. And something occurs to me. By the way, my name's Julie. My son came out about 5 years ago. And here is the only thing parents need to know. The only thing when your child comes out to you, that they are exactly who they've always been. Nothing has changed. They are who they have always been. The only thing different is that you have new information now. That's all. And that's the only thing you have to remember. This child is who they have always been.